episode.
It's your boy G. We here with another episode of the Mendable Hustler podcast. I'm gonna introduce my man here, Arturo. Today I'm very excited for this episode. Arturo, why don't you give them just pretty much describe what we're gonna be talking about, and kind of like just go over the little final of the last podcast.
Right.
We had a little technical difficulties again.
Yeah.
But hopefully this one will be better and finish up strong. So.
All right. So unfortunately, for the last two podcasts, we had technical difficulties in which the cameras cut off. It was a memory issue. Hopefully, I think we got the issue fixed, and hopefully there shouldn't be any more interruptions from now. But with what happened, I think it's a blessing in disguise, because I think it's a skill that all of us need. So whenever we tend to go through something, whether it's challenging, whether it's positive, it's always good to reflect back in order to sort of look back on what lessons were learned. So one of the things that we're going to be doing at the beginning of every podcast is to reflect back on what we talked about, just so we show you guys that we're not just spilling out details that most people say, but we're actually learning from ourselves, because we're trying to improve every single day. So yeah, so the last podcast that we had was about interdependence, and from what I remember, my way of summarizing is interdependence is basically the balance. As I said on the last podcast, the balance to having, the key to having a really happy type of life and a healthy, in which you're both physically and mentally healthy, is basically balancing everything that you do in life. And the key to doing that is being an interdependent person. So as I said before, in order for you to understand what an interdependent person, you have to understand that it's made up of two things. The first thing is being an independent person. An independent person is basically a person who's completely independent of himself, right? He doesn't rely upon others to do things. He's self-motivated, and anything that comes up, he goes and do it. But that person is not entirely strong, because no one is strong by themselves. They always need help, and that's where dependency comes around. A dependent person is someone who is always in reliance of others in order for him to progress, in order for him to complete a goal, in order for him to get something done. And so, because that person is incomplete, because he's always depending on others, he needs that independent person. So whenever you combine the two, you pretty much balance everything out, and so you have an interdependent person. The example that I gave last time was basically a leader, right? In order for a leader to accomplish something, the leader is always motivated. It's self-motivated. He doesn't really need others to tell him what to do or anything like that. He knows what needs to get done, and he knows how to get those things done. But he also understands that he can't get that done by himself. So he knows that at some point he's going to need the help of others. So he brings people together. He knows the strengths and weaknesses of everyone. And so he basically establishes who best to use in order to complete that goal. And together, they accomplish whatever goal that one single person cannot accomplish by themselves, but only a group of people could accomplish together. And so that is the summary of interdependence. So the topic we selected today, I don't know if you want to add anything to summarize.
I kind of want to add a little bit of interdependent, how to be interdependent in the last episode. And then you said that this podcast is really helping us. Not only are we sharing our knowledge and our experiences, it's helping us learning. Because one thing that I know, when you teach, you learn. When you share things, opinions, diverse and be able to learn and know that you can do a lot. You know what I mean? So it's just great. So yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say.
So
Yeah.
that basically puts it. That's your summary of the last podcast that we had. And again, the title of that podcast was Interdependence or Interdependence.
Yeah.
So the topic that we selected today is called commitment, and I'll give a brief little description of what commitment means to me, and then I'm gonna jump on to Gelson, and he'll explain his half. So to me, commitment is basically about stating it's basically making a declaration, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to your close peers, family members, and stuff like that. And you're declaring that you're going to do something, right? And this closely falls back to one of the topics that we talked about, which basically was accountability, right? With commitment, you're basically committing to do something that's very important to you, right? And the reason we call commitment is because it means a lot that we complete those things, because we put a lot of value in making those commitments, and that's why we call them commitments. Because if it wasn't a commitment, if it wasn't something that we value, then it would just be something that we normally do on a daily basis. So the reason we put the word commitment is because it's very important. It means a lot to us, and so we put a lot of effort and value towards it. And so that's what commitment means to me, or a brief description of commitment. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with commitment that you what's commitment? Commitment is doing the things you say you're going to do, even when things not going your way. That's commitment to me. That's my definition of commitment. So one of the main reasons we decided, right, to talk about this topic is because I made a commitment with myself, and I never looked back. I never looked back because I knew I developed this mindset that I was afraid of. I'm afraid to develop this mindset. I'm afraid of being average. When I say average in terms of the point I was when I was on my lowest point of my life, right? It just seemed that every visions that I had, because I'm a very vision person, I'm a visionary. Every vision that I had, it just seemed that it wasn't coming to reality, right? I was being a hard worker, I was being a grinder, right? I've been grinding all my life, like that's the reality, for real. Been grinding all my life, but it just there was never no commitment when I was at my lowest. There was never no commitment. So. And I was struggling to find that commitment, that focus, the motivation, the faith. I was struggling. But now, at this point in my life, I understand why it was so hard for me to find that commitment. Because of experiences and self-awareness. It was lack of that, you know what I mean? It was just a lot of things and a lot of distractions too, right? Because I was being very, very distracted person, and it just seems like things would never go like my way, or things will go my way for a long period of time, and then it go back to like where it's just hard to pick it up where you left off. You know what I mean? So before I go on and kind of like share a little backstory of how I was able to develop that commitment, that the mindset to find that commitment to get here at this point in my life. But before I share that, I'll let you kind of like give it some thoughts, or maybe share some experiences that you have with commitment.
Right. Okay, so just gonna go back to what I shared previously. So I'm trying to briefly explain what commitment means again.
Yeah.
So just to get a better understanding, a better idea of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we think of commitment, the first thing that comes to our mind are relationships, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why commitment is so closely linked with relationships is because there is a sense of security. There is a sense of a declaration that you will not break the vows or you not break the promises that you make. And I want to closely circle around the word promise, because promise and commitment go hand in hand together. They almost overlap, because a commitment is literally a promise that you're making, and that has a lot of weight and that has a lot of value, right? So that's basically the idea of what commitment is. So now I want to jump into an experience, right? So for me, I used to be a heavy gamer. I don't play as much as I used to, but from time to time I go and play, right? But there is important skills that I learned through playing video games, right? At the beginning, I used to play video games with Chelsea here, and it was fun, but things got difficult, and I'll quickly, how should I say? I'll quickly look for opportunities to cheat my way, to find what I'm trying to say is, right, there came times while playing video games in which there were a lot of challenges, right? But through playing video games so often, I developed the skills of being committed towards a certain goal. And that goal was beating Chelsea on a type of game, whatever that we're playing, right? And over time, that skills played out in other factors of my life. Whether it's about video games, another one was in school, right? At the beginning of certain classes, I never really got the marks, but through the skills that I developed through video games, I knew if I continued hard enough, I would eventually get better grades. So I stayed committed because I knew from previous results that if I stayed committed towards working towards something, that the results would eventually change, right? Yeah, I'll leave it at there. That's a good example for past experiences.
Yeah, that's cool. So one of the backstories I wanted to share about my whole journey of finding a mindset to being committed to get better every day, right? To improve every day, just to be in search for that purpose, so you can be committed, right? To finding that why. So when I was at my lowest, it's like I was willing to put in the work. You know what I mean? I was willing to put in the work. I was willing to do whatever for me to help me to get to the next level, right? I was willing to put in the works. Either wake up I say it so many times that I always been a morning person. I was like, it don't matter. 6 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m., it don't matter. I'm out. You know what I mean? But it was that focus, it was that consistency that I didn't have, right? You know what I mean? So, but it took so many things to help me realize that, if I don't change my ways, if I don't change the way I'm living, if I don't change my circle, if I don't change the things that I do, if I don't change my mentality, the mindset was the most important thing, right? If I don't change that, I'm not gonna find the mindset that's gonna help me to get to the next level, right? So one of the things I did is just like I I just got tired, you know what I mean? I really got tired of just being an average person. Like, I wanted to just keep improving and do better, right? Because the last year I was in college, I did make the basketball team. I played the first half of the year, first semester. I played well, I got some minutes, but second half of the semester, just things wasn't going my well. The classes, no minutes. I just knew there was no more motivation there, right? The love for the basketball was there, right? But I wasn't committed as should be. I wasn't committed in my classes. I wasn't committed in the basketball court. You know what I mean? And I was not getting younger. I was getting I just knew yo, I have no more time to waste. And I just see myself literally just struggling in every single aspect of my life. You know what I mean? So one of the things I did, I had to really just start really looking at the big picture. Yo, what do you really want in life? What do you really want? What are you gonna do now? You know what I mean? I think one of the biggest things that I can say now is my wife. Because when I found my wife, she was so ahead of her time. You know what I mean? She had everything together for herself. She had a career for herself already, and I was juggling. You know what I mean? So I think that was one of the most key important time of my life when I started dating my wife, because she really changed a lot of the things, the way I see things, right? Because the way you view things, it changes everything. It changes everything, right? Because I never really had a completely positive mindset. It was just literally half and half. You know what I mean? My mindset wasn't always positive. You know what I mean? I was doing a lot. You know, partying, drinking, girls. It was just so many things that I was doing, and then I had no complete focus. It's just one thing, right? Because I knew I had the potential. Right? But I couldn't find that thing, that why, that purpose. You know, that motivation, right? The motivation is there. I'm willing. I can go in the gym for five days. I'm putting in the work. A basketball court, I'm putting in the work. Literally. I'm putting in the work. The hardest worker in the room, I'm putting in the work. But it was just okay, when the weekend comes, that Friday, party, get drunk. You know what I mean? Spend money, get fresh. There was no purpose there. There was no why. I just started looking at the big picture. I just started looking at the people around me, because I just said, yo, I'm not getting younger. I'm still living with my moms. You know what I mean? I have no skill whatsoever. You know what I mean? Working in the restaurants, a cook. Bro, I just needed that big thing, that next step, that strategy, that routine. You know what I mean? So a lot of people just when I say sleep less, burn more is more than lifestyle, it really is more than lifestyle, because when I started doing my routine early in the morning, just consistently, and I just started seeing, bro, I see a whole focus, I see a whole motivation. You know what I mean? I get inspired. You know what I mean? Because one thing that I didn't know, it was, motivation, it's just a feeling, right? So I'll get motivated, I'll do for 1 week, and then stop. You know what I mean? So what was that one thing that I could find, the consistency? You know what I mean? So once I started seeing, just started being consistent, because my whole thing was to find the routine so I can stay consistent. And just find the routine that I'll be able to, what's one thing that I could do that I could just yo, it's all about getting better. It's, today I'm gonna do something that I to get better than I was yesterday. You know what I mean? So the whole mindset just became to try to outdo what I did yesterday. You know what I mean? So I remember 7 days a week, literally 7 days a week, no breaks, because I didn't want to lose that momentum. You know, when I started doing the routine 7 days a week, I didn't want to lose the momentum, because I always knew when I stopped, it was hard for me to pick up where I left off. You know what I mean? So I just started really just staying consistent, and I started really just finding the why, the purpose, and I knew that purpose purpose was for me to get to the next level was really just to like stay consistent and being committed to my goals. So when I found that routine and I started staying consistent, then I started setting goals. When I started accomplishing my goals, then I just started having visions, right? I started having visions, and for your vision to come to reality, you have to stay committed. You have to trust the process, because for you to find that consistency, it's not gonna happen overnight. You have to do it over and over and over and over and over. So I found that consistency, and I started sharing my progress. And in life, one thing that I learned in life is just when you start accomplishing things, you feel high. You feel higher and higher and higher, right? You feel higher and higher because you know it's a tough place to get to. It's a tough place to have. It's tough to have the mindset to be able to do hard assignments every single day. It's just like in school, right? It's hard to do hard assignments every single day. So I just knew like I was ahead, like around my circle. I was like being more consistent than everybody. You know what I mean? Not to put my friends down, but I just saw myself different. I was in a different level. You know what I mean? So in the relationship that I had in the beginning, when I started dating my wife, it was just amazing. It was just like, yo, I can do more. And it just started getting that confidence that I can do more. I can do more. So I started slowing down. No more parties, no more alcohol, no more spending money for no reason to try to buy things that out of my, just to try to impress. You know what I mean? And then when I started getting the feedbacks, that's what it boosts you even more. It boosts your confidence even more. The feedbacks, you say, yo, people seeing it. It's not just me, not the feeling that I'm having, though. Other people see it too. You know what I mean? So that you feel like, yo, you want to share to people what you're doing for you to feel like that, for you to walk around like that with that confidence, for you to feel like you can share knowledge to somebody, right? Because you doing those hard assignments, you're accomplishing those assignments every single day, right? So you feel like, yo, I can show to somebody that's struggling, because you know what is hard to find that consistency for you to get to the next level, right? So now when you have that knowledge, because you did accomplish so many assignments, right? You want to share. So that's when the sleepless grandmore, the whole vision that I had started coming together. But I never knew it was become a brand. It was just a whole self-development kind of thing, right? So with that being said, man, I completely quit alcohol for 2 years. I proposed, I got married, I bought a house, I have kids, I have a daughter now, and I have so many goals to accomplish, right? But I know for me to accomplish this goal, I'm so committed now, and I can never look back, babe. I can never look back, I can never stop, because it's a mindset now. It's in my brain, it's in my body. I'm addicted to getting better every single day. I can't stop, because I know what it took for me to get to this level. But I know it's not easy. It's so many bumps along the road. There's so many bumps, right? But I can't stop. I gotta keep going. But I have a whole strategy. I have a mindset. I have a routine that helps me to accomplish these assignments that I have. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel this is my purpose, because with the whole, I have a complete, so much passion, so much emotions when I speak, because I did a lot for me to get to this point. But I never hated the process, because I'm committed. I did a lot, but I never hated, because I'm committed to see this vision that I have, where I want to get to. Because I found the strategy. I have the mindset. I have a routine that I do every single day that's gonna help me to get to this big vision that I have, right? And now we're here, we're a brand, the Sleepless Grind More. I'm helping a lot of people change their ways, you know what I mean? A lot of people get inspired about the brand. This is not just a brand for clothing, put on your clothes. This is a mindset, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to tell people that you don't have to wake up early and do the same things I do. It's just about you creating a mindset that you for yourself that works for you. You know what I mean? That works with your schedule. You have to find the motivation, that focus to help you to do the things that make you feel good. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like working out. You have to take care of yourself. And that's pretty much what I had to say. You know what I mean? Like, man, there's so much. I love doing this. I love sharing my story because I did a lot, but I never hated. But I'm so committed to the grind.
All right. To touch back on when I was giving the summary for interdependence, how there's two factors towards it in terms of being independent and dependent. For commitment, it sort of strikes on the same thing. So I think I have already touched on the first one, which was about the declaration of a promise, the declaration of committing towards something very important, something that has a lot of value towards you. Alright, so the second thing is basically the thing he was touching upon, is the road to staying committed towards accomplishing whatever it is that you set forth, right? Because whatever you set forth has a lot of value towards you, and so no matter what comes your way, no matter the challenge that you will face, this thing means so much to you that you will do whatever it is to maintain a tight grip on this promise that you make, on this commitment, on this declaration, in order for you to fulfill it. And that's why I made the example of relationship, and that's why Johnson made the examples on his progress into becoming a better version of himself, right? It wasn't initially there, but he had good routines. He had good habits. It only took some time for him to realize that he needed to get rid of the bad habits in order for the transitions to begin to appear, the transitions to begin to fully change him into a better person. So, like I mentioned before, commitment takes two factors. One of them is the declaration, a promise you made. Could be towards a relationship, could be towards a goal, towards yourself and towards others. And then the other thing is basically the commitment to stay put towards that goal and doing everything that you can to not let go of it and to complete it to the best of your abilities, because it is a promise. It's something that you value so much that you will not let other things get you distracted from it. Let it go.